Sudan's former Prime Minister Abdalla Hamdok is calling for an end to the fighting. Hamdok is participating in an international aid conference in Paris to highlight the plight of millions of Sudanese affected by the violence.
Our call comes to stop the war, address the humanitarian situation, stop targeting civilians, restore the path of democratic transformation, and open an expanded dialogue that leads to the formation of peaceful transition structures. These positions are in the interest of the nation and the citizens, and this will not be achieved except by returning to negotiations.
Well, women in Sudan are paying a heavy price in the continuing conflict. Sudan has the world's worst displacement crises, and half of all Sudanese forced from their homes are girls and women. The United Nations is warning that more than 7,000 new mothers could soon die if their health needs aren't met. And gender-based violence threatens almost 7 million Sudanese. To talk to us more about the plight of Sudanese women, we are now joined by Sulaima Ishaq Elkhalifa, who's head of the Sudanese government's unit combating violence against women. Sulaima, thank you very much for joining us on Al Jazeera. What has been the most devastating consequence, the most devastating impact of the war on the women of Sudan?
It's the conflict-related sexual violence is one of the most devastating thing that's happened to the women in Sudan, because all types of the conflict-related sexual violence had happened to them. It's including forced marriages, including sexual slavery, trafficking, and kidnapping. And actually, it's not even getting the attention it needs regionally or internationally. And the reality in Sudan is really devastating. It's really agonizing, and it's really painful to see this kind of affect people and how much that women had lost. They lost their properties. They are forced to leave their houses. They lost their savings, and the informal sector that have been actually held mostly by women who have been fighting poverty for decades now had just crashed down, and all these women had lost even their small jobs that keep their dignity and at least keep some of the expenses going on. And now they lost everything, and most of the people now are relying on the aid, which is not enough. And it's really humble in comparison to the crisis we're having.
Yeah.
The large number of IDPs is mostly women and girls. They are and they lost even the simple dignified support that actually enabled them for dignity and dignified support, like the sanitary pads, the essentials women needs. And it's not, people see it as not a priority, but it's actually very much priority to the women and girls, because it could prevent their accessibility, and it could prevent their participation. And any aid that is not gendered and does not actually look at the differences between men and women and then tailor this kind of needs for women and girls is not going to be enough.
Yeah, the humanitarian response. Yeah, the humanitarian response is not enough, and you say it's not even sufficient to meet the needs of women, the particular needs of women and girls. Many of them, as you mentioned, are living, living in displaced camps. What sort of conditions are they facing in these camps, whether in South Sudan, in Chad, and what help are they getting?
And actually, even in the people who managed to get to the camps, because the internally displaced people in Sudan is not living in camps. They are living in schools and border houses that is actually their infrastructure is very weak. It's not very much safe. It's not even made to contain a large number of people. So it's actually crashing down even those in safe places. And the other people in the camps, they are not getting enough. And I know that people, when they flee to Chad, they need basic things like to be for dignified support, and it's not there, and it's not enough.
Okay.
Women they are still suffering, and they still need the basic needs for themselves.
Sulaima, let me ask you, because historically women have played a critical role in building community resilience in Sudan and advocating for peace. What role do you see Sudanese women playing today in achieving peace in the country? Is there a space for women in leadership roles in Sudan today?
there's no space for women right now, but actually women are doing this within the safe houses they are staying in, within the school that they have been their homes now. Now they are leading the support within their own areas, and they are leading the voluntary work to help their own communities. It's the women nature, how they rebuild the communities. But still, if women are not rehabilitated enough, if there's no support, if there's no psychosocial support, if there's no support they dignified support is not enough, women will not be able to do that.
Thank you
We
so
still
much.
rely on women. Yes.
Thank you so much. We're going to leave it there. Thank you for your time, Sulaima Ishaq Elkhalifa, head of the Sudanese government's unit combating violence against women. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.